Does Presence give the audience a supernatural thriller that truly scares, or does it ghost the horror genre entirely? Spoiler alert, guys, if you've not seen the movie, make sure you bookmark this video and come back to it. Otherwise, you've been forewarned. So, let's talk about my overall impressions of the movie. So, according to its wiki page, because I feel like we need to kind of break this down again to understand what we're doing here, a family of four, mother Rebecca, father Chris, elder brother Tyler, and younger sister Chloe, move into a large suburban house inhabited by a poltergeist, referred to in this universe as the Presence. The entire film is presented from the Presence point of view, usually in a series of long takes. I've seen this kind of done before already with the movie In a Violent Nature. Is it a copycat? Maybe, sort of. That is a horror film that is told from the perspective of the killer, much like this one is told from the supernatural's presence point of view. That movie had some interesting moments, but overall it felt underwhelming. The experience of seeing things from the killer's perspective is exactly what you expect, and it isn't particularly exciting. After watching the movie, it gives similar vibes. From the ghost perspective, it's presented as a supernatural thriller, but it really doesn't deliver on that front. I think it's been miscategorized and would be more accurately called a supernatural drama. Just take thriller out of there. You're probably wondering, Justin, does it really matter if it's labeled a thriller? Well, the movie is being marketed as a horror film, but aside from featuring a ghost, it really isn't. The movie reminded me a lot of The Lovely Bones, and I wish it had embraced more of that emotional core. There are elements ripe for exploitation, but the film doesn't really go there. So the movie gave me some cause for concern. As a father with a daughter, this movie had me constantly worrying about my own child's future. I was a teenager once and admit I did some stupid things, but Tyler's friend Ryan and his repeated attempts to take advantage of Chloe had me thinking, what the heck? I'm not naive. I know this kind of behavior exists in the real world today, but I hope to never see this to this extent or with such aggressiveness. I found myself wishing the Presence would step in and knock some sense into him multiple times. I don't know if the director or writer have experienced someone like this, but I'll be praying every day that my daughter does not come into someone like this, and we'll just praying for protection for her. Throughout the film, I was constantly on high alert, worrying for Chloe, and she wasn't even my daughter. What I liked and disliked, there's not very much of both. To be honest, there wasn't much about the movie that I particularly liked. Part of the reason I wanted to watch it was because of Lucy Liu. Sorry, I'm a fan of hers, those that are not. And I also thought it had the potential to be an interesting take on a horror movie. So, what I disliked, too much dysfunction. This movie definitely highlights the problems the family has been experiencing, and while most families go through this challenge, this one felt like it was going through it way too much. Like, damn! Rebecca and Chris's marriage is on the rocks, and Rebecca seems overly focused on her son, to the point that Chris feels like she's neglecting her daughter. There's even one kitchen scene that gave me almost romantic, incestuous vibes between the two. I don't know if you picked that up. Maybe I'm reading it wrong, but let me know in the comments if you felt it too. Rebecca might be involved in fraud. Chris seems close to finalizing their separation. Chloe is grieving her friend's loss and getting involved in drugs, and her brother is insensitive about that. That's a lot to deal with as a family. I don't think all of that was really necessary, though, to tell the story the movie was trying to sell us on. Let's talk about the movie's runtime. At only 85 minutes, the movie felt too short, in my opinion. It could have benefited from a little bit longer time to expand on the details rather than relying on a camcorder-style storytelling approach that reminded me more of found footage horror films. I just don't think that worked for it. So I wanted to also include the writer's response to the twist ending because I think it kind of didn't sit well with a lot of people that watched the movie. So I feel like the movie's ending and twist was kind of unclear. It seems like writer David Koepp, hope I'm saying that right, assumes that the audience simply didn't catch all of his obvious clues. Let me know if you understood his explanation. This is what he said to TheWrap. But I think it's safe to say that, like myself and many viewers, I don't think we missed them. So, this is what he had to say, and these are all quotes. They asked him, "Who is the ghost?" He said, "At the very end of the movie, Lucy Liu is looking at an old mirror that has been part of the house forever, and which has properties that allow it to exist between worlds. A psychic told the family this." Okay? While Liu is staring at the mirror, she sees her son Tyler in the reflection. He was the ghost this whole time, protecting his sister from Ryan and attempting to save her life. Why is this confusing? The dead girls that are frequently talked about earlier in the movie seem like the most obvious red herring, but we've also seen enough haunted house movies to know that most of the time the ghost died on the premises, which negates the two dead girls. Writer David Koepp said, "It surprises me that some people don't get that. I feel like it's thunderingly clear." I don't think so. It was even a little bit clearer at one point. I had one more setup and Steven cut it because it's his. I'm not giving out leaflets in the lobby. He's a little more comfortable with ambiguity than I am. And he said, it's not ambiguous. I said, okay. The identity of the ghost was something that Koepp always knew while writing, which is, quote, while he doesn't want to watch his sister having sex, and when the brother talks about the horrible prank he played at school, the presence goes upstairs and trashes the brother's room because it's self-loathing. That all made sense to me as I was doing it. Had the concepts been introduced earlier in the movie? Yes, the idea of time working differently for ghosts, or in this case, looping back around to protect the loved one, is introduced by a psychic early in the movie. And while the two dead friends were definitely something that Koepp utilized to divert our attention, he said, quote, there's a certain amount of, hey, look over there, or look over here, look over here. I was doing that with friends. Everything is set up properly for the reveal of the brother being the ghost. It was all right there. Take with that what you will, but I don't know that everybody really caught on. Again, when it happened, I was like, oh, okay, but I don't think there was like a ton of clues to let us know that. You knew that the presence was related to somebody, but I don't think it was that clear. If I made this movie, I would have reworked the premise to focus more on who the presence is and how it impacts the family. I would have taken some information from the Lovely Bones, opening with a brief scene showing a girl who lived in the house and died similarly to Chloe's friends, but with minimal details. Then the family moves in and the same presence begins to gravitate towards her. Rather than directly communicating, it interacts in subtle physical ways, though we see the presence in the form of the girl from the start. The drug-related and date rape warning signs still drive the story, escalating the presence of aggression, kind of like how it was doing in the movie. With the help of a medium, Chloe will investigate the house and uncover the presence identity. She visits the girl's grave, still unsure of exact circumstances of her death or what the presence wants, creating tension with Rebecca and Tyler, who refuse to believe in it, while Chris supports Chloe in her grieving process. The climax occurs when Ryan makes a second attempt to harm Chloe, revealing he also victimized the girl who lived in the house previously. The presence finally gets a redemption moment, saving Chloe by incapacitating Ryan, not killing him, but protecting her nonetheless. Chloe then sees the girl's spirit clearly in the mirror and returns to the grave to thank her. Finally, the family moves away from the house and the camera pans to the sky, implying that the girl's spirit has moved on peacefully. I think that'll work a lot better. So it's not too different, but that just seems better to me. So here are my final thoughts and review for Presence. Well, this movie is getting buzz, or was getting buzz at the time it came out, and strong critic reviews due to Steven Soderbergh's direction and David Koepp's writing, I find myself more aligned with the audience that gave it a cinema score of C+, which I think is fair, and that's more common for horror movies. My take on what the movie could have been would have been more interesting to watch. Of course, that's my opinion. But I think for a film marketed as being from a ghost perspective, meant to be thrilling and horror-esque, it ends up using the ghosts more as a clever camera and storytelling device to explore a family's struggles and ultimate loss, rather than dealing and delivering with real thrills of horror. Because of this, something essential just feels missing. So I give it 2 out of 5 Lucy-Loos. I don't think horror fans will necessarily enjoy this movie. Honestly, it probably should have gone straight to streaming and never been put in theaters. I think this is straight up a streaming movie. So wherever it goes, Hulu or whatever, that's where I would watch it at. And that is my review of Presence. If you agree with my review, please comment down below. If you like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you want more videos, please subscribe. I am challenging myself to 31 days of Halloween, where I review 31 horror movies for every 31 days of October. Hopefully I can meet that challenge. Pray for me. By all means, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time on The Mashup.